Hey everyone! Welcome back to another weekly episode of the Fendig Theater Experience. I'm Blake and you're in Blake's Broadway Lounge. Let's go! So before we get started in today's video, I just wanted to bring up our cast album challenge from last week, Seussical. Now, we didn't receive any comments last week, but that's fine. We're at the very beginning stages of these weekly episodes. But if you're watching this video and you would like to take part in our cast album challenge, every week the episode is going to include a cast album challenge. And the goal of the challenge is to listen to the cast album and then comment what you thought. And if you comment what you thought of the cast album, you might be included in the very next Fendig weekly episode. So it would be really cool if you guys would take a listen to Seussical the Musical. Now remember, if you like this video, to make sure to click that thumbs up button on the bottom. It gets more people connected to us if more people press that thumbs up. And if you would like to receive notifications on when we have our next video, make sure you click on that subscribe button. Because if you do hit that subscribe button, you'll get a notification as soon as a video is uploaded, so you can be the first to watch, or you could put it somewhere else to make sure you watch it later. Either way, if you want to see more of our videos, hit that subscribe button. After last week's cast album challenge being announced at the end of the video, for this video, we're actually going to announce this week's cast album challenge before we get to our main content in the video, because it might be relevant to what we do later on in the video. So, without further ado, our second pick for our cast album challenge is Wicked. Okay, so Wicked is one of my personal favorite musicals, and it's a great musical for people to explore if you haven't really explored musicals before. Wicked tells the story of the Wicked Witch of the West before the events of The Wizard of Oz. So it's kind of like a prequel to The Wizard of Oz, but through the lens of both the Wicked Witch of the West, which in this musical is named Elphaba, and the Good Witch of the North, Galinda. Galinda, throughout the show her name changes from Galinda to Glinda. Either way, these two witches that are in The Wizard of Oz actually were friends before the events of The Wizard of Oz, and they were college dorm roommates. The music in Wicked is some of my favorite music in musical theater, period. If you guys know Frozen and Frozen 2, Idina Menzel, who was the voice of Elsa, was the original Elphaba in Wicked, and the original Glinda was Kristen Chenoweth, who is also a very talented musical theater performer. The music is great. You may be familiar with the song Defying Gravity. That's considered the most popular song on the show. But if you would like to listen along, that is this week's cast album challenge pick. So if you listen to the album, leave a comment down below in the video, and you might be featured in Fendig Theater Experience weekly videos next video. Okay, now let's get to the fun part. Today, we are going to go more in depth about props. Now, if you watched our Fendig Theater Experience over the summer, we did do a video that explained what a prop was, but just to refresh you, a prop is any item that an actor uses on stage during a performance. So if they need to have a drink, they have a drink in their hand, that's a prop. If they have a fan and they're fanning themselves, that's a prop. But today we're gonna go a little more specifically into why actors have props. So when you watch a show, do you ever really notice the props? Really, you shouldn't. You shouldn't really notice the props because they are a part of telling the story. So you're trying to follow the story. So you notice the prop most of the time if there isn't one. So for example, if an actor came on stage but they forgot their prop and they are holding a glass well, they're supposed to hold a glass and everyone else in the scene is holding a glass, but he's pretending, you're obviously going to know as the audience member that he does not have a prop. So why is it that props are important? Why do we have props? Why are they necessary? Let's focus on 2 reasons. 1 being they help tell a more specific story with a new element, and 2, they help improve the actor's performance. When you are playing a role in a production, you are most likely playing a character that is completely different from who you are. So, you have your costume and you have your lines memorized and you're performing on stage, and let's say you're supposed to be a newsboy, and your job is you're supposed to hold a piece of paper and say, extra, extra, read all about it, big news this way, and you don't have a piece of paper in your hand. I don't have a piece of paper in my hand. I look pretty ridiculous without having that piece of paper. So the idea of the prop is that it adds that element to the staging of the show. So let's say the lights are on, the set's already done, the music's playing, and you go on stage and there isn't a newspaper there. It just adds that little element to solidify the story that we're telling. Props also have the capabilities to help an actor refine their performances and make them better. So for this example, I'm going to use Mary Poppins. Fendig did Mary Poppins back in 2015. So Mary Poppins, everyone knows Mary Poppins as a nanny that flies in with an umbrella. So almost every single time that Mary Poppins is on stage, Mary Poppins has an umbrella. So what's great about the umbrella is it's a part of who the character is. So when the actress who plays Mary Poppins is rehearsing to play the role, it's very likely that she is rehearsing with an umbrella. And regardless on if it's the actual umbrella that's used in the show, she has time to get used to the idea of what the umbrella does for her as a character. Why does she hold the umbrella? How does she hold the umbrella? What's the easiest way to move the umbrella so it can do what it needs to do for that scene? So it's a very interesting way that actors can explore and discover new things about the roles that they're playing. So props are very important for actors as well. Pushing forward, there's also a possibility for actors who have props to have emotional connections to those props as their characters. Now, to be more specific, I'm going to use an example, and that example is going to be Ariel in The Little Mermaid. So, Ariel has this song, Part of Your World, and through that song, she talks about all of this stuff that she found, all this human stuff. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? And she holds them, and you can tell that that stuff, that human stuff, matters to her. When she picks up the fork, which she calls a dinglehopper, it matters to her. When her father destroys all of her stuff, it crushes her, and that moment pushes her to make the decision to meet the sea witch. So props can have an emotional attachment to the characters that hold them. So that's an example of that being in the script, in the action of the script, but there's a lot of stuff that actors can do and come up and make up for props that they use that could be valuable to them. So like you're holding a glass, and your job is you're a waiter and you're giving them this glass, and you could be like, oh, this glass is the one that causes me the most trouble. I'm worried about it breaking the most because it's a little lighter. Things that are specific. The more specific that you can be with a prop, the more the story will be refined in its own little way to make it just that little bit of amount better. So we've rehearsed, we as the actor have made our decisions in terms of choices, our performances, what our props mean to us, but how does that translate on stage? Okay, so think about it. We have items in our lives that we use all the time. I know I'm attached to my phone. You might be attached to an electronic device, maybe an iPad. You know where your apps are. You know how to type really fast. There's things that are familiar to you, like the TV remote, things like that. When you are on stage, it's you as the actor's job to make the choices with your props that would work for the situation. If you are eating dinner, how would your character eat dinner? How would they use the utensils and the fork, and how would they eat? Are they good at cutting the meat, or do they struggle a little bit at cutting the meat? It's things like that that really fine-tune a performance. And with props, sometimes they don't necessarily exist as real things. Like, a prop is real. When you use a prop on stage, it's a prop, but here's an example. When you are drinking from a glass on stage, most of the time, there isn't going to be any liquid in there. Think about it. If you spilled the liquid on the floor, that could cause some safety concerns for your fellow actors on stage, or even worse, the crew backstage where it's really, really dark. So you as the actor are responsible of using the glass, drinking it, and pretending that there was something in the glass, whether it be water or something else. Fendig has been able to come up with some pretty cool tricks to make the props possible for our productions in the past. Some of my personal favorites are the turkey in Hello Dolly. That was Fendig's 2017 production. All they used to make that turkey look like a real turkey was some black and brown acrylic paint, and get this, they used a foam human head. So you know those foam heads where people usually keep wigs if they wear wigs? They just painted it over and they made it look like a turkey. And it's pretty cool. When the cast members are backstage, they can tell that it's a head, but when it's on stage and the audience sees it, it's a little far away, so they can't really tell. We also did that with Newsies in 2018. There was a scene where a character had to shave another character's face, and I didn't necessarily feel comfortable finding a real razor, because safety. So what we did was we used a folded up tiny fan, and that fan represented the razor, and it worked because it was so far away that the audience couldn't see it. Going back to liquid, if you want to pretend that there's liquid in a drink and the glass is see-through, all you have to do is tape around some areas and make a line, and then just spray paint or acrylic paint some gold so that it looks like there's liquid in there when you're holding a glass. Once you have the prop, it's up to you as the actor to be able to make the prop work for a performance. So if it doesn't look real to the audience, if it doesn't look real to you, it won't translate to the audience. So it's you, the actor's job, to make the audience believe in the world that you're in and the props that you're using. Before I close out this video, I want to give you one more interesting prop trick, so to speak. So let's say you are playing a waiter and you have a tray, and you're supposed to run around the stage, not walk, run, with like 4 or 5 drinks on the tray. How do they not fall on the floor? What if you're just like, and then all the glasses fall down, and you know most likely there's no liquid in them, so it's gonna be even easier for them to fall down? This is the trick. So what most people do, well, I know what Fendig's done in the past, is we've made a little strap underneath the tray that the actor just puts their hand in, so there's a little bit of security. The tray itself won't fall out of the actor's hand. And then when it comes to the drinks, they'll put some pieces of Velcro on the tray, and then they'll put the opposite side of the Velcro on the bottom of the glasses. And then they would just, stick them on. See? Another trick for you. maybe you want to try it out. Sometimes it takes a lot of time and research to come up with ways to make the props the way you need them to be for the production. But once that work is done and you have the prop and you have it ready for the actor for the show, it just makes the show a little more magical and real. That's a wrap on this week's weekly video with the Fendig Theater Experience. So just so you know, Fendig is still offering private voice lessons. If you are interested, there is some more information on fendigtheater.org. Last week I said .com and I was wrong. I made a mistake. It's .org, I promise. We are also looking into possibly starting some dance lessons and some acting workshops, but we can only do that if people go online and click on there and say that they're interested. So that's also going to be on the same page on fendigtheater.org. Make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. This is Blake reporting from Blake's Broadway Lounge. See you next time.